Okay, so time for another little rambly video, but this time we're going to be doing it on the perf page. The perf page is a very useful part of the Apache that not a whole lot of people like to use, because it is just a bunch of numbers. But once you get used to it, it's relatively easy to understand. So I'll start from the top here, and then we'll go around. So up here in the top left, we've got the hover torque. Q is for torque. So if you want to do an IGE hover, meaning in ground effect, which is less than 1 rotor diameter off the ground, so I believe that's about 40 to 50 in the Apache, feet that is, you will need about 67% torque to hover. Now, an OGE hover, which is going to be more than about 40 to 50 feet off the ground, you're going to need about 83 torque. So you'll see that as the indicators, or if I bring up the IHADS monocle, it'll be in the top left up there. The go no go is a way that you can tell if you have enough hover power. So when we come up to a hover, if our torque is above this value here, so 100% torque, we cannot hover in ground effect. If our indicated torque is above 80, which is the no-go, which is the go-no-go for an OGE hover, we cannot hover in OGE. Now, a quick demonstration of this, if you're still a bit unsure on what I mean, is I'm going to come to a hover, and we're going to look at the values down here, or the value up in the top left, the IHADS. So, start coming up. Level to the horizon, waiting for that squat switch to come off. Squat switch has just gone off, trim, and now come up. Okay, so we're in a 5-foot hover. We're using about 62, 63. So actually, it's a bit less, but that just might be because of pressure and temperature. So we are below the go no go for the OGE hover. So if we come up to an OGE hover now, see that we can actually do it, and it's going to be somewhere around 83. So 29 knots still in ground effect. Here we go. We should be coming out of ground effect now. So 80 feet will terminate. At 78, 79, 80. There we go, free off OGE. So that is roughly accurate. It does over-report slightly. So that's just about the hover torque. If, for example, you are high, hot, and heavy, so let's say it's about 30 degrees Celsius, you're at like 7,000 feet, and your gross weight is somewhere around like 17,000. Then what you'll see is the hover torque will change. And if I just get on the ground a sec, bit of a rough landing. If I go to max, what I can do is I can then change the temperature to 30 degrees, change the expected gross weight to be somewhere around 1,000, 17,000. And then pressure altitude, let's say 7,000 feet. So a couple of things have changed. In fact, I'll actually put the gross weight up just a tad, just to emphasize it. So our IGE hover torque is now 86%. Our go no go is 93. So if we are in a hover and we see 93, we're not really going to be able to hover in ground effect. That is because the max dual engine torque down here, so you've got max torque for dual engine and single engine. This is going to be your continuous, max continuous torque value. So if you go above that, you're going to start drooping the rotor. Isn't really a good thing, because that can lead to a medical condition known as death. The OG hover power is going to be 108. That is very much not advised. You will either burn out the burn out the engines, or droop the rotor. And if you're in a hover and you're getting 74% torque, then you can hover OGE. But as this states, you'll be using about 86. So that is higher than that. You won't be able to hover in out of ground effect. Also shows your max weights here. So in ground effect, the max weight is going to be 17950. So you can reference that with the current. So that shows your current gross weight. That's what the aircraft believes the current gross weight to be. And you can sort of see if you're going to be able to hover. DE meaning dual engine. So actually got both engines working. Single engine being you've either lost an engine to battle damage, or you've just turned it off for whatever reason. Single engine then is going to be significantly lower, but the single engine max torque is a lot higher. Well, I say a lot higher. It's a fair bit higher. What you're going to find is there's also these numbers on the side. These numbers can be used to help you plan and to stay on station for longer. So if you want to go the most distance, this isn't the most distance the fastest, this isn't the most time on station, this is just the most distance per fuel burn. That is going to be at this, very important, these settings on the left. If I go to current, it's going to change. Actually, we'll stay on current for now. So if you want to use the least fuel per kilometer or nautical mile, or whatever measurement you want to use, we want to be around 64% torque. Once again, that would be indicated on there or on the IHADs. And we would want to be using the range true airspeed, which is going to be 121 knots. If we're going both of them, we're then going to be burning roughly about 954, I think it's pounds per hour. So then that would just give you the best range endurance. If you've seen something like the Hornet, it's similar to the Air Pass on there. If you go 43% torque and 73 knots, you will be going at the best endurance airspeed. A bit more about these velocities by year. So you got VNE, V never exceed. If you go past this, so 191 knots, you're going to be overstressing the aircraft, getting into retreating blade stall, similar to that. You will have a tough time getting into that in level flight, but it's surprisingly easy when you don't dive. So just keep an eye on that. If you do find yourself passing that, you want to do reduce collective and aft cyclic to reduce your speed. VSSE, that is velocity safe single engine. So as long as you're above this speed here, you will be able to fly away with one engine. If it is below that, you will sink and crash. That is very important to keep an eye on. And then these two we've just covered. And change your weight in here. I don't really see why would you want to. And there is one other thing that this perf page can show you, although it's not written. You can work out the max rate of descent that you can do to terminate to either an IGE hover or an OGE hover. So the way you do that is you will take your torque, so your max torque. If it's 109, so above 100, you'll just use 100 because then that is your new continuous torque limit. Continuous torque limit being the max torque you can do for 6 seconds. If you go above 6 seconds, you're going to start breaking stuff. And that's what over torquing is. So you take that. For this example, it's over 100, so we use 100. In here, it's below 100, so we use 93. So we'll use 100, and then we take away whatever one we're using. So if we want to terminate to an in-ground effect hover, we would use 66. So the torque we have available to play with is 44%. Take that 44%, we times it by 100. You can use this KU unit as well. It's very useful. So we do 44 times by 100 equals 4,400. Then you times that by 2. Correction. I just did that wrong. It is 44 times 100 divided by 2. And that's going to give you the max rate of descent that you can recover from by pulling collective without over-torquing. I wouldn't suggest doing that because then you'll get into VRS, but that is a different subject. For example, if we do it for the max, max dual engine is 93, and the hover torque required for an IGE hover is 86. So we can simply come over to the KU unit, do 93 minus 86. That gives us the torque to play with. Times that torque by 100, and then divide by 2. So if we were at these conditions, the max rate of descent that we would be able to recover from in terminating to an IG hover without over-torquing the aircraft, so that's going above this value here, be 350 feet per minute. Now, as we can see in this, we can't actually do an OG hover, so there's no point working that out. But if we come back to the current perf mode, you can see that we can OG hover. You can do the same thing that we just did for the IG hover with the OG. So you just go 100, since that's the max continuous torque limit. Take away 82. That gives you 18% torque to play with. You times that by 100, and divide it by 2. So if you want to terminate to an out-of-ground effect hover, 900 feet per minute is the max you can recover from using collective. I believe that, you can also do it the other way. So if you have a planned rate of descent, let's say you want to decrease 500 feet per minute, then what you would do is you would take the rate of descent, so 500, divide it by 100, so you get 5, and then you times that by 2. That'll give you 10%. You'll need 10% above whatever you're trying to terminate to. So for an in-ground effect hover, that would be 10 plus 66, 76. So that would be roughly the torque that if you pull to that, you will terminate from a 500 feet hover. I believe that's it. Any questions, either chuck me a message in Discord or just put a comment on the video.